Growing up Southern Baptist, like some of you, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to All Saints Day or All Souls Day as a kid. Those days were overshadowed by today, Halloween. Halloween was exciting and scary and fun. And the day after Halloween was just as fun as I sorted through all the candy I had collected the evening before to see how much really good candy I had scored and how much okay candy I had received. For a kid like me, those were the only two categories. There was no such thing as bad candy. I was vaguely aware that the day after Halloween had something to do with graveyards and whitewashing the tombstones for some people, but those traditions and rituals were far enough removed from me that I didn't give it too much thought. But as I've gotten older and said my goodbyes to more and more people who have been important to me, days like tomorrow, All Saints Day, and the next day, All Souls Day, have taken on more significance to me. I spend more time thinking about the people who have been a part of my life but are dead. I give more thought about people whose lives have made an impact on the world, people who may even be described as saints, although they have not been officially canonized by the church. And I spend more time wondering what it is that really separates a saint from a sinner. And as these thoughts bounced around in my head, I also wondered what in the world all of that had to do with today's assigned lectionary reading from the gospel. What could the possible connection be between Luke's version of the Beatitudes and the saints that have gone on before us, or even the saints that continue to walk in our midst? In short, what do these blessings have to do with All Saints' Day? Some Bible scholars think that Luke's version of the Beatitudes is more likely to be closer to the original version than our more familiar version found in Matthew. Even though Luke may have been written later than Matthew, some feel that the author of Matthew spent some time predifying and spiritualizing the original version of the Beatitudes in order to make it more palatable to the reader. Whereas Matthew says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit," Luke has Jesus saying, "Blessed are you who are poor." And whereas Matthew says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness," Luke says, "Blessed are you who are hungry." Matthew's "Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted" becomes, "Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh," in Luke. And try as I might, I can hardly imagine laughing over the death of a loved one. And even more difficult to fathom is the idea of the hungry or the poor being a blessed people. But fortunately for me, in my time off last week, I got a chance to read the latest book of one of my favorite authors, Barbara Brown Taylor. The book is called An Altar in the World, and each chapter is devoted to a different spiritual practice, many which we would not think of as being a spiritual practice at all, such as the practice of walking on the earth, or the practice of getting lost, or the practice of encountering others, or the practice of saying no. And the book concludes with the practice of pronouncing blessings, sort of the way Jesus did in this morning's gospel reading. Among the things I get to do as a minister is to pronounce blessings. I have pronounced blessings on many different things over the years. I have blessed people's homes and their pets. I have blessed loving mutual relationships between people, both same-sex and opposite-sex relationships. I have blessed children, and I have blessed the elderly. I have blessed church buildings and the congregations that use them. And I have even blessed motorcycles. For some reason, people have come to think of it as my job to pronounce a blessing upon something that is important to them. But there are three things that come to mind as I think about this whole idea of blessing. And the first is that anyone can do it. Not only can anyone do it, but everyone should do it. When I visit a home and join them for dinner, it's almost comical to watch everyone turn to me with the unspoken expectation that I need to get on and do what we ministers do, and that is offer a blessing before the meal. Or when I ask if anyone would be willing to open up a business meeting with a word of prayer, the air becomes so thick with tension that one can hardly take a breath as each person in the room looks at the other, afraid to speak for fear of saying the wrong words. You may be one of those people. You may feel you aren't qualified to say a blessing because you aren't good with words. You may be the sort of person who would rather jump off a high diving board than try to say something in front of a whole bunch of people that's supposed to be holy. If you're one of those people, then only you know why. And all I can tell you is how much the world needs you to reconsider.